The air inside the command chamber was thin, laced with the scent of ionized steel and quiet desperation. Commander Ela Wren sat at the head of the circular war table, her uniform still streaked with dried blood and ash from the last skirmish. A thick bandage wrapped her right forearm, the result of a close call with a Draconid plasma drone, but the real wounds were deeper. Across from her sat a mix of diplomats, strategists, and soldiers, what was left of humanity's fractured leadership. The galaxy had moved on. Earth had not. Ela's dark eyes scanned the chamber. The lights above flickered as if struggling to stay alive, mirroring the state of the planet they orbited. Earth, once vibrant and arrogant, was now a ghost in the galactic record. 2 decades had passed since the Draconid Empire's fleets shattered the solar defense grid and glassed 4 major continents. The survivors had gone underground, literally in some places, building bunkers beneath the ice caps and desert ruins, clinging to hope like it was oxygen. "We are not beaten," Ela said, her voice low but firm. It cut through the murmurs. "Not yet." General Vass, a grizzled veteran from the Pacific Enclave, leaned forward. "The Council has written us off. You know that. We're a liability to them. If they thought we had any fight left, they wouldn't have labeled us a closed system. They labeled us extinct," Ela corrected, her jaw tightening. "And that's exactly why we have one final chance to strike without being watched." The room quieted. Even the background hum of the ship seemed to soften. Ela tapped a button on the console. The holomap flickered to life, displaying the outer fringes of the Sagittarius arm. Blinking dots marked ancient human outposts, once part of humanity's colonization surge before the fall. "These were thought to be dead," she said, "lost to solar flares, failed terraforming, or simply abandoned. But last week, our deep-range intercept team picked up a signal, coded in an old Earth dialect, layered beneath a false Draconid comm burst." She paused. "It originated from Thalos V, a planet we thought had been consumed by its sun." The silence that followed was heavy. Some exchanged glances. Others, like Minister Carew of the Atlantic Federation, stared ahead, unwilling to let hope take root. "We decrypted part of the message," Ela continued. "It said, 'We are the children of Earth. We remember.'" General Vass exhaled. "Even if it's real, why wait this long? Why not help us during the invasion?" "Maybe they couldn't," she answered. "Maybe they weren't ready. Or maybe they didn't know we were still alive either." The hologram shifted, displaying a series of complex starship designs. Sleek, unfamiliar, powerful. These weren't built on Earth. These are far beyond our current specs. Our analysts believe this is an evolved variant of the Ares class, but with tech we've never seen: quantum fold armor, solar refraction cloaking, particle thread munitions. Minister Carew leaned forward, finally intrigued. "You're saying they've advanced without us?" Ela nodded. "Yes, and I think they're coming home." Someone scoffed from the back. Young Lieutenant Brell, not long out of training. "Why would they? What's left to come back to?" Ela stood, wincing slightly. "You weren't there when the skies turned red, when we watched the constellations vanish under Draconid fire. But I was. I watched cities burn, I watched children die, and I made a promise. If there was even a fragment of humanity still burning out there, I'd find it. I'd bring it back." Her voice softened. "Because Earth is more than a planet. It's a story, one that isn't finished." No one answered immediately. The weight of her words hung over them like a storm cloud, charged and waiting to break. An aide entered, breathless, breaking the silence. "Commander Wren, you need to see this." Ela followed him to the secondary holodeck, where a live feed had begun streaming from a deep-range telescope on Europa Station. 3 vessels hovered at the edge of the solar system. Massive, angular, nothing like the crude, blocky freighters Earth had once used. They were elegant, aggressive, and marked with a faded sigil, a sun cradled by a pair of outstretched wings. "Unidentified ships," the aide said. "No Draconid signature. No known registry. But the signal, it's Earth-based." Ela's throat tightened. One of the ships sent a transmission. No visuals, just a voice, calm, assertive, resolute. "This is Commander Elon Ray of the Solari Concord. By the stars, we have returned. The chamber erupted. Voices clashed. Questions, orders, disbelief. Hila didn't speak. She couldn't. Her mind raced back to childhood legends, stories whispered in underground shelters about the ones who escaped. Her father used to say, "Someday, they'll come back. They'll remember who they are." And now they had. She turned back to the central war table, its glowing edges now reflecting the incoming ships above. "Patch them through," she ordered. "Let's find out what they become." As the comms synced and the screen began to brighten, Hila allowed herself, just for a moment, to believe. The children of Earth had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. The docking clamps echoed through the hull like thunder, a mechanical announcement that the strangers from the edge of space had arrived. In the central chamber of Orbital Command, Hila Ren stood alone before the viewport, watching the unfamiliar silhouettes approach. The ships were unlike anything built in Earth's past, sleek, almost predatory, as if the void itself had shaped them. They bore the scars of survival and design philosophies honed far from Soul's forgotten light. Behind her, the doors parted with a hiss. The delegation entered. 3 figures, each distinct, each a shard of humanity, long scattered. At their front walked Commander Elon Ray, tall and sharp-eyed, his skin faintly luminescent with nanoweave implants spiraling along his temples. The insignia of the Solari Concord gleamed against his breastplate, a sun in eclipse, radiating lines etched with circuitry. "You haven't changed much," he said, voice low, almost nostalgic. "The air here still tastes like iron and stubbornness." Hila smirked despite herself. "And you've turned into a poet." "I've turned into someone who remembers what was lost," Ray replied, "and what can still be reclaimed." Beside him stood 2 others. Adjutant Kalen Voss of the Orion Vanguard, draped in deep red armor that bore heat burns and the seal of 1,000 campaigns, and Envoy Sarah Juno of the Eos Enclave, her expression calm, enigmatic, as though she'd seen galaxies rise and fall. Ray gestured to the room. "This isn't a rescue mission, Hila. It's a reckoning." She studied them, each so different and yet undeniably human. "Then let's start with the truth." "Why now?" Voss spoke, his voice like gravel on stone. "Because we were waiting, preparing. While Earth bled, we hardened. The Vanguard forged its legions in war zones untouched by galactic law. We've watched the Draconids grow bold, complacent. The moment to strike is now, while they still think you're broken." Sarah stepped forward, her tone more measured. "And because we heard your voice, Hila, not in transmission, but in defiance. Earth refused to vanish. That echo reached us." Ray nodded. "We are not here to play savior. We are here to unify. You still hold the memory. We carry the evolution." The room dimmed as tactical projections flickered to life between them. Red systems highlighted Draconid strongholds. Blue dots indicated resistance cells still operational across Earth's moons and allied outposts. Hila folded her arms. "You have weapons we can't comprehend. Ships faster than light. But we have people, billions still afraid, still angry, still ready. If you're here to lead, know they won't follow strangers. They'll follow strength," Voss said. "And we bring more than firepower. We bring justice for what was done to our world." Sarah moved closer, her gaze piercing. "But unity must be chosen. If Earth cannot look beyond its scars, this will all fall apart before it begins." There was a beat of silence. Then Hila turned, walking slowly to the center table. She activated a secure channel, and a chorus of commanders, diplomats, and civilian leaders appeared as flickering images around them. "You heard them," she said to the gathered voices. "They're not here to save us. They're here to stand with us. If we accept them." Suspicion rippled through the room. Arguments sparked. But beneath the noise, something new began to take root. Possibility. Ray watched carefully. "We can strike the Draconid Armada before it regroups. The colonies have forces en route. We only need one word." Hila looked up at the stars through the viewport, those old, cold lights that had watched her entire world collapse, and then slowly nodded. "One word," she said, "and we take back everything they stole." And just like that, the first order of Earth's return was given. Far above, the ships began to move.